All right, we're ready.
Thank you so much. All right, well, welcome everyone in the room and welcome to our virtual audience. This year I have reading glasses, so this is going to be a fun time of me feeling dizzy and looking up and down. And so pardon my new strategy here. But I cannot read what's in front of me unless I have these on my face. So I'm going to look at you like I'm scolding you and like I'm a librarian, right? All right, so I'm really pleased to see our virtual audience here as well today. We have several presenters who are joining us virtually, and we have one who is here with us in the room. So we're really excited about this showcase. If you are not familiar with our annual Effective Online Practices Award, this program recognizes best practices and strategies and innovations in online teaching and learning. And it showcases the programs of our exemplary online practitioners across the SUNY system. So I'm going to make sure that we have some slides going here. Let's see. All right. And can we get a confirmation from Zoom that you're seeing the slides?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, hold on. Let's make sure that that's displaying for you. There are all kinds of buttons on this laptop. Hold on. All right. This one. Better?
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm going to make sure it's in slideshow. Okay. Let me know online if there's any issues. Okay, so here we go. So, as I mentioned before, the SUNY community has the opportunity to review all of these entries and rate these entries. And we really love this peer review process. It gives the community a chance to give feedback and comments on all of the effective practices and to learn something that someone maybe on a neighboring campus is doing in a way to collaborate with your colleagues. This is our 11th year, surprisingly, but we've been doing this a long time. So our repository has collected, we just broke 100 this year, so I think we're at 102 effective practices in the repository. Participants have additional opportunities throughout the year to showcase their effective practice. There is a poster session opportunity at CIT, and we have SUNY online webinars throughout the year that we also do. All effective practices submissions are added to the repository, as I mentioned, and we invite you to go and check out the 100 and now 2 effective practices in our repository. SUNY Online has collaborated with the University of Central Florida, who sponsors an initiative to recognize excellence in online teaching across SUNY via their award-winning International Teaching Online Pedagogical Repository, or TOPR. TOPR is an open public resource that's hosted by UCF that reviews, selects, and organizes effective online teaching practices. And submissions from SUNY's online teaching and learning track are invited annually to submit to TOPR for consideration and peer review. We have had 17 SUNY submissions accepted into TOPR. So today we are joined by several participants who submitted an effective online practice this year. The slides aren't changing online? Oh, is that true, Jen?
Yeah, it's just showing the original screen.
Says that we're sharing. Let's see. I'm not sure. You want me to stop and then share again?
Erin, are you in presentation mode by any chance?
Yep.
I think you need to flip around your monitors then.
How about that?
Because we're seeing,
There we go.
Yes?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, great. So now you see the panel presentation. Okay.
Yes, panel presentations.
Then you are in the right place. It's my first time with technology. I apologize. Every time. All right. So the first presentation today is now my slides will not advance, so that's fun. Let's try this. There we go, Donna. All right, so Donna Simielli has joined us from SUNY Niagara to talk about her entry on supporting student success through low-cost course materials. So Donna, you get to come up to the podium, and you're responsible for the technical difficulties now. How's that?
I'm not touching that, so,
There you go.
okay. So as it says, we actually went to First Aid Complete is what it's called through Barnes and Nobles back in fall of 23. And originally we had a few classes that I think that we had like 35 classes that were in First Aid Complete. And then we decided after a couple of years of doing that, that we would go system-wide for our whole campus. And over the last year and a half and 3 semesters of experiencing this, we've learned a few growing pains and some of the things that we needed to do to make the move for the entire campus a little bit easier on our students and on our faculty. And one of the big things that happened was after the first semester, our faculty decided they didn't want the hassle. So we went up to 50% of our classes were OER. And we had worked out, it was part of something that was worked out in our contract that students would not get charged per credit hour if it was an OER. But that was something that they said they won't do that for everybody. So if you have somebody that's a really good negotiator on your campus, maybe you could work it out. But at this point, we were very lucky, and it helped us because it did get the faculty to move. And I think it's great that they were able to do that. But as we tried to help our students and our faculty, one of the biggest growing pains was the opt-out. A lot of students accidentally opt out. We had to get them back in again, and they didn't know enough about the program. So some of the things that we did was we created a website that we outlined what the program was all about, how they were going to save money, and we had a 2 different price range. I do have it outlined in our presentation. And we even worked it out so that our nursing, at first they were going to be separate, but they were put into the contract as well. So we had a few things that were outside, like the nursing kits. They still had to buy those separately, but their textbooks were part of the program. Our culinary arts, because they had to have certain equipment that was part of it. Certain things were in addition, or they paid a little bit higher per credit hour for the culinary courses. So it has been a great program. We've saved our students a lot of money. I know that in the presentation, we said that students saved over $50,000 by going to OER in a lot of those classes, but we have saved our students a lot of money. We haven't been in it long enough to show a great change as to our success rates for our students at this point because we don't have enough data. We also didn't have the ability to separate the data out to figure out whether they were in an OER course or whether they were, but we did see an increase in our student success. And so we're taking that as a great thing that we move forward and help them. So hopefully our goals, we're going to keep going as we are. And I have seen actually faculty starting to come back to it because they can see that the students could still get a discount even if they went back to the textbooks and the third-party tools. So some of the things that we did on top of creating committees, we worked very closely with the bookstore. We had to revamp what faculty needed to know on what their responsibilities were to make it work in their courses. I worked with them and we put together a faculty task flyer as to what each person, because it's different if they're using OER, it's different if they're using physical textbooks. If they're using third-party tools, it's different. And if they're using straight ebooks, it's different. So we tried to put something together with the flyer. Plus, I actually gave them syllabus statements for each one of the different categories so that they could just grab that piece and copy and paste it in their syllabus, depending on what course materials they were using. Okay. And like I said, we also had a little bit of growing pains of students not knowing what the program was about. So we did create flyers for the students. I do have a couple of copies here if anybody wants to see them. They're also linked out in our presentation. And we I think we've finally gotten to the point where we've got everybody together on the same page. But as we know, our students change every 2 years, so we are, having to make sure that the new ones coming in are getting the same information. And we've had a big turnover in faculty as well. So it's something that it's not going to change. We have to keep focusing on this to make sure that everybody knows what the program's all about so we can keep it going, because it is a cost saving for our students. Plus, they get their materials on the first day. They are not waiting to get the materials, which is the big part of the whole thing. And that's what we really wanted on top of the cost savings. Okay. Any questions? Kim? Oh.
Apologies if I missed this, Donna, but what are you doing on the data collection side to know what your students are doing, whether it's OER, ebooks, whatever?
They are right now, they are breaking it down through our, basically what happens if it's an OER, the faculty have to let them know in Banner, and they code it right in Banner that it's an OER. So the students will know when they go to register for the
Okay.
course, if that particular section is an OER, a physical book, or an ebook.
So it's in your SIS.
It is in that.
So that when
SIS.
your sections get reported,
They can
you
pull
can
it up
pull
as
them.
to what's OER.
Okay.
Now, at this point, I don't think they can separate it out as to whether it's a physical book, whether it's a ebook,
Yeah.
or third-party tools.
Yeah. Where I'm going with this is, I think some of you know, we added the codes for zero textbook costs, low textbook cost. I can't say it. Are you capturing that as
Yes.
well?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, they're actually put right in the Banner that way. Anybody else? Okay, I think my 5 minutes are up. But I'll leave these up on the front table if anybody wants to look at them.
Thank you so much. Okay. So our next presenter is virtual, and this is Jay Zhang from SUNY Brockport. Jay, are you there?
Yes, thank you, Erin.
You're welcome.
So, thank you, everyone. I'm presenting on behalf of my colleagues, Dr. Ning Yu and Dr. Sandeep Mitra from Computer Science and their students. And our proposed practice is an AI-powered study tutoring application to enhance student learning in online education. So, Erin, if you can help move this forward. And we are going to talk about, I'm going to talk about the reasons why it's important. Erin, right now we don't see the slides moving to the next slide. Only see the first slide.
I can't do anything on this computer at the moment.
Oh,
Guys, Jay.
oh,
Go ahead,
okay.
talking.
Yeah, it's okay. I can just talk. There are several reasons. The first reason is SUNY Gen Ed framework includes AI in information literacy as a required core competency. And the second reason is because right now at Brockport, at least, there's no policy regulating the AI use. And our librarians created a LibGuide, which has been very helpful. In the LibGuide, the faculty members have the autonomy to decide their practices, ranging from encouraging its use with reflection and appropriate citations to imposing some restrictions and prohibiting its use entirely. So there is a need to provide students with opportunities to use AI under appropriate guidance. And as I mentioned, we have a team. So Dr. Ning Yu, Dr. Sandeep Mitra from Computer Science, and the students from Computer Science in the Association of Computer Machinery Special Interest Group in Artificial Intelligence Student Chapter, ACM SIGA chapter. They kind of worked on the technical part to develop an Agile AI website for my students and me to use. And I'm a professor of special education in the Department of Education and Human Development. And my students enrolled in my introduction to special ed used this one. And we follow a learning by doing model for the students to have the opportunity to do some hands-on work to develop their work, and for my students to implement the use of AI experience that work. So the Agile Eyeline is an application that computer science students developed under the mentorship from Dr. Yu and Dr. Mitra. And I created an autism module, which is used in my introduction to special ed course. And I provided the student team, the CS student team, with all the relevant teaching materials, the questions for the assignment, the answer key, as well as the rubric. And students have 2 attempts to do it. One attempt is that they answer the short answer questions. And once they submit their answers, AI provide feedback. The feedback is immediately provided, individualized, very specific to the content, because I provided the teaching materials. And also it's targeted specifically to my students' answers, as well as the grading. And then my students will make a second submission with the revised answers, the reflection, as well as self-evaluation based on a rubric. And after their second attempt, I came in to review their work and provide further feedback, and also provide the final grade. And the key features, there are some key features. One is to ensure privacy and confidentiality. The second one is to improve assessment accessibility and inclusivity. We offer device independent and offline functionality to ensure accessibility regardless of user's location. And we provide a speech to text function to allow my students to answer questions verbally, which will transfer to the words. And also it has a read aloud function so that the students can, instead of reading, they can just listening to the questions. The third feature is to decrease potential evaluation biases. The submissions are anonymous. I just ask the students to enter the last 4 digits of their school ID for the assignment submission verification purposes. And the fourth feature is to establish an AI-driven feedback system. Again, it's immediate, it's individualized, specific to the content, and tailored to my students' answers. And the fifth feature is to enhance learning experiences. The whole assignment is lower stakes so that the students can focus more on the content. And also the students can put greater focus on the learning process instead of the final outcome. And in this process, the students feel empowered by the autonomy. And also for me, it make my work more efficient, because when I came in to evaluate and provide feedback to the students, it's improved assignment. And based on the students' feedback, they felt it's very helpful, it's accurate with the AI's input. And they felt quick insights for improvement is very helpful, instead of waiting for maybe within 1 week for my feedback. Also, they liked the streamlined submission process. They also provided a few suggestions for us to consider for the future directions. And we are implementing the system again and using the input, like students' input. So we are adding logins for my students so that it's not just a one website. And also we are trying to expand this application and its implementation across more disciplines and campuses. And So this is my presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciate it. I'm going to, for those that were asking in the chat, we're going to be sharing all of the presentation slides on the Summit website. So they will be there for you. Thank you. All right. So next we have, I'm not going to go back and forth because I don't want to mess up the, I don't want to mess up the Zoom. So next we have Stacy Hills. Stacy is from Columbia Green Community College. Is Stacy with us?
Yep, I'm here. Do I have the ability to screen share?
They should be able to allow you to do that in the Zoom.
Yes, you can go ahead.
Great. So I figured, thank you for letting me do this. Oop, it's saying someone else is sharing, so I think someone has to stop before I can do this. So as we said, I teach all high flex classes, and therefore I figured the best way to share with you all what I do in class is to let you do it. This is actually great because this is a lot like my high flex classes. Some of you are on Zoom live and others of you are going to be watching this video later. Normally I would also have some students in class with me, and I will preface this. I'm just waiting, I think, for that screen share that's up to, I can, awesome. Perfect, here we go. Beauty. Okay, so there we go. Now you guys can all see what I'm seeing. I'm an old school lecturer. I love my PowerPoints and I'm addicted. So I couldn't get rid of them. And this is how my students would view any of the business classes I teach: ethics, accounting, economics, you name it. And I'm going to ask you all to play along in the student role in our 5 minutes. So if you're taking notes, now's a good time to get out the pen and paper. If you're typing, type along. Normally, I would be able to either share these with you in advance or at least let you know it's coming. And we're going to do one slide. So the idea here is to build a more active lecture component. So I'm really here to sell you all on live annotating your PowerPoints. So you'll notice it's not in screen share mode. It's just in plain old mode with your slides as minimized as you want to make them off to your left. And normally I would couple this with the closed captioning as well. So your closed captionings would be at the bottom. Oh, I see love from Doris. Thank you. So I would add that closed captioning on the bottom. And the idea here is going to be that actual lecture can be valuable, right? You need it, and especially in my classes, they're scaffolded. I can't ask them to do things until they know the what. So we follow a Miller framework here. So you have to know first, then know how. Then you can guided show and then demonstrate. So it's kind of it's for clinical demonstrations. Actually, it started its life in nursing. So this is the know part. And the idea of this tool is that you can turn a lecture from a passive, let the world wash over you, into an active piece using your PowerPoint tools. And if you're a whiteboard person on Zoom, you can do it with Zoom as well. Google Slides, any of your Prezis, it'll work. You just have to kind of do the one you're comfortable with. So the first thing that live annotating is going to do is it's going to draw and maintain attention. So one of my favorite things on busy accounting slides is to use a contrasting color, so that I'm usually white backgrounds, just like you see here. And that tells students, this is what you're supposed to pay attention to. So we draw them in to that piece as we go. So we can draw and maintain attention. And if I type, they write. So they know on the first day we get a baseline. and they're building their notes, but they know what to look at. They know where they are on the slides. And if my closed captioning is working properly, that's kind of following me with an extra minute. So we'll sometimes use contrasting colors to help us build. The second reason we do this is that I'm able to teach students how to take notes specifically for me. Right? This is what works when you take a Professor Hill's class. So I like the highlighting tool because it really just keys people in. And it lets me build something that is more accessible for all of the learners because I can add live if we're working on a problem, for example. I might put this piece in and I can see we have a note in the chat that says, do I allow two-way interaction to highlight on their slides? You know, we've had students do it. They don't use it much, but I absolutely would let them do that. I've done it in the past. So I always invite that opportunity for sure. But yeah, I might, and exactly kind of with Simone's question, right? I might incorporate that in, right? So I might be like, oh, we had a question right there where it says, and students annotate in the Zoom tools. And so the lecture itself can become more iterative. It's also pretty useful when we have students who maybe have camera problems, maybe they've got audio issues, they're glitching in and out. And so what I've found for this, I know I'm almost out of time, is that when we do it this way, first I get better questions, right? The questions I get aren't, I was lost, it was, hey, you were on slide number 2 and I didn't understand this piece. So or where can I find this note? 3 minutes in, right? And but they can keep coming back. They see where they left off a little bit more effectively. So I get better questions, I get improved learning, and students really do like it. I will often post these at the end, so they'll get an unedited version of slides and then an edited version to check back with to make sure they didn't miss anything. And anecdotally, I've been told I'm great at 1.5 speeds. So I can be adjustable. And what I really like from a faculty side is that it is adaptable to you. So bring your personality to it, use the techniques and pieces that you like. And I just think everybody could have better lecture experiences if they were annotating their lectures live in PowerPoint or whatever their online tool is. So that is my hot tip. So please share out. I know we don't have a lot of time, but you're welcome to email me if you need anything.
Thanks very much, Stacy.
Thank you.
Very fun. I am going to move us along to the next speaker. And for those who had questions, Stacy's still there, so she can respond to you in the chat as well. So next up, we have Laura Parmenter from Jamestown.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
And can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
So I am presenting on our Teaching Students at a Distance course, just to give you an idea of where this falls into our online support for our faculty. JCC developed an online course quality plan and review process, and we have a couple of different pieces to that. There's the Teaching Students at a Distance course, which I'll go into detail about in a second. And then we also have an online course design training, which our lead faculty go through, develop a departmental course shell for an online course, which is OSCAR reviewed, and it's OSCAR reviewed on a 3-year process. We're still kind of working out some kinks, although we do have several courses that have been designed through that process. But the piece of this that is really well established is our teaching students at a distance course. So this is actually for all faculty. We really wanted to make sure that all of our faculty were prepared to teach students at a distance because modalities can change at any given time. We could have a faculty member leave and we have to replace them with somebody else and maybe that course is online. And we also just don't know. Sometimes we just have to move to remote instruction, and we want to make sure that our faculty are very well supported in that. So we developed a teaching students at a distance course. It's a 3-week-long asynchronous course. I facilitate it. It's a part of onboarding for all of our new faculty, whether they teach online or not. And all of our current faculty are going through the course as well. So we've reached over 150 faculty members so far. Each module coincides with a week. Module 1 is a successful start. So we just go through some of the things that we feel faculty need to know before they start teaching a distance education course. So we jump into all of our modalities that we teach at JCC. We talk about who our distance education students are. We developed a list of best practices through our faculty governance that we share out in this course, and faculty take a little quiz on it to get them used to Brightspace. We talk about what should be in a syllabus, and we give them syllabus templates, and we introduce them to OSCAR. A piece of the OSCAR part that we go into is on just creating a welcoming course and getting started content. And so they actually complete an assignment on OSCAR Standard 1. And then we get into some of the things that faculty sometimes don't think about before they jump into distance education, such as choosing tools to engage students, or issues with testing and academic integrity and things like that that they just don't think about. So we actually do a discussion in this first module where faculty get a choice. They can talk about kind of reducing cognitive load for students and ways to do that, so they can jump right into course content through things like consistent course design and using templates. Or they can talk about challenges in assessment in online learning. And we usually get into deep discussions about AI and authentic assessments and things like that. In Module 2, we look at instructor-student and student-student interactions, and we have a big focus on regular and substantive interaction. We talk about using lots of different tools within Brightspace to make sure that we have interactions both between the instructor and student and between the students themselves. And so we talk about course announcements and how you can use them as a teaching tool, not just to keep your students on track. We talk about using class discussions, and we actually have a discussion on discussions where faculty share a discussion prompt and they get feedback on that prompt. And we talk about virtual office hours, grading feedback, and I actually give video feedback on their assignment in this module so that they can see what that looks like from the student side. We talk about using intelligent agents and Starfish for quick interventions for students. And then we also talk about social interaction, so using group assignments and things like that, but also having a space, just a lounge area where students can interact with each other, not necessarily related to course content. And then to finish off this module, the faculty do a course communication plan assignment where they map out how they're going to be communicating and interacting with their students for 1 week of their course. And then finally, Module 3 is on student content interaction. So this course is not meant to be instructing on course design. However, we are not at the point yet where we have departmental course shells for all of our online courses. And so we will have faculty who are developing online courses or working with course content and developing course content as they're teaching. And so we do have this third module in here giving a little introduction to course design. And I can see redesigning this course later on once we have our departmental course shells figured out. But we do a brief introduction to backward design. We talk about content chunking, active learning, and we actually have a discussion here where faculty share their active learning strategies. We talk about digital accessibility, and they complete an assignment on accessibility where they run an Ally course report on a course in Brightspace, and they have to change something to make it more accessible in their course. We have had just really overwhelmingly positive feedback on this course. Faculty appreciate it because they get to interact and see what other faculty members are doing. It works really well to have faculty who have taught online for a long time and faculty who are new to teaching online in the same course. And they just love seeing Brightspace from the student side. It completely changes their perspective on teaching and the things that they're doing in their class. And so it's just been a really wonderful thing. So thank you for letting me share.
Thanks very much, Laura. So next up we have Brandy So from Farmingdale.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. I'm going to share my screen as well. Can you see my screen okay?
Yep, all set. Thank you, Brandy.
Excellent. Great. So hopefully this works out. At Farmingdale State College, we are beginning the process of building our assets for course renewals for some 400 to 500 courses that we're going to be doing refreshes over the next 4 to 5 years. So I wanted to show you a little bit about what we're building to prepare for that, and specifically just take a look at a tool that is really cheap that we secured for engaging discussion board activities in our courses. So if you can see this window, hopefully you can with all the tabs. This is an example of the course templates that we modeled after the SUNY templates to really kind of entice our faculty and departments to want to come back to us so we can give them like brand new course graphics and banners with great design. And then in specific, what we're building is an assignment templates course so that as we go through the refresh process, we can give faculty an opportunity to kind of like shop the look. And I love this because now we're going to have like an easy way for our faculty to adopt kind of best in class assets for assignment templates in their course. So I will say that we try to develop them with this approach known as TILT, which is Transparency in Learning and Teaching. We got it off of Vanderbilt's Teaching and Learning Center. But just the approach meaning that, you know, we're really clear with the students about what they need to do to succeed. And so among these assignment templates that they have available here includes engaging discussion board activities. And I'm just going to show one that I think is worth a quick look. My presentation is going to be over in 30 seconds. Is a LinkedIn Learning scavenger hunt. We do have LinkedIn Learning on our campus, and so we have built some course discussion boards based on that. But what I really want to show you is something called rss.app. This is a software. It's just a simple license we purchased for our office. It costs less than $200. It allows me to create up to 100 individual RSS feeds, which is basically a news feed aggregator. So I'm just going to show you very quickly how it works. I would go and select to create a new feed. I decided Cats at Work would be what I would want to create in our newsfeed today. So as soon as that is created, what it does is it allows you to kind of identify which layout and design is appropriate for your class. And then once you do that, you can grab really simply this embed code. If I saved this to continue, now I can click add to the website, and I can just grab an iframe code, which works in Brightspace. So all I do is just copy this. So I'm just lastly going to show you 2 places where we've embedded it. So this would be an example of a class current events page, right? Where we kind of have a different layout where students can come into this area. It would be great for case studies, but one of the reasons that I really like it too, I won't say that anything is like AI, you know, immune, but it is like AI resistant in the sense that these news articles and pieces are really up to the minute. So in these types of activities, you're really inviting our students to kind of connect something that's happening today in the real world to the course learning outcomes. And this is just an example of how we would put it into a discussion board activity that gives students kind of the framework in which they can look at the current events in the context of their class and, add and, some new information and new knowledge into the discussion board by bringing something back that they feel is valuable. So that is it. That's my presentation. So thank you.
Thanks, Brandy. Alex and I are huge fans of Cats at Work.
Hello.
Awesome.
Thanks.
And next we have Angela Thering. Angela, are you there?
Can I share my screen as well? I'll minimize you guys.
You can go ahead and share.
Thank you. Can you see my adult ed majors page?
You can. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, so our team kind of wanted to explore a way for our online students to have a virtual space. And I really enjoyed the talk of the coaching talk and the virtual space they used this morning. And I will definitely be drawing from that as I move forward. So the idea is to build a space for the students where they can use it as what I'm calling a bright space third space, which is a play on words for the Ray Oldenburg third place and bright space. It's, it's a little bit of a dad joke play on words, but I'm trying, right? So trying to get a place where students can get accurate information, connect with peers, and work with resources. So walking through the site, and I forgot to set my timer, walking through the site, let's just look at resources first. So looking at our program offerings, students often ask questions. What about this micro-credential? What do I need to do for that graduate certificate? We have found that when we say things like, go ahead and check it out on the website, students really get down the wrong path sometimes because of the way Google is structured and that sponsored things are first. And it might take them to a different college. It might take them to the wrong micro-credential. This keeps it all tight with what our program offers. And it really provides an opportunity for students to kind of break down exactly what's in there and have a little bit of ownership. So a lot of this information is redundant with what is on the website. However, they don't have to navigate the website to get to it. And this is theirs, and they can see this is just for them, customized just for our adult ed students. So for instance, here is our instructional design micro-credential, a little bit of a write-up on it. Here's the form to fill out. Here are the classes you're taking. Relatively simple and streamlined. So when we were putting this together, we did a needs assessment with our students on what they might like to see here. And we came back with feedback on program offerings, of course, like I just showed you, graduation, APA formatting, constant battle in any program that uses APA, financial aid, technical assistance, and then we kind of went broader with who we talked about. What do you think grad students need? And we thought the GSA, the Graduate Student Association, and doctoral study as they move forward would be useful to be here. So thinking about something as basic as a graduation requirement, again, these things are prominently well displayed on our website, but students often get very confused trying to find them. Or maybe they find the one from last year, or a lot of different things happen. So we can customize this and just tell our students, go ahead and look on the adult.org page. Everything is there that you need. And it really streamlines where they find information and helps them get less confused about a variety of things that might be frustrating. So for instance, an adult ed master's program, there's more than one in the world. So when you Google it, a million things come up. What comes first? The sponsored ones. So this kind of provides them with kind of a one-stop shop. One more section I wanted to highlight before I get to the social aspect is the technical assistance section. So when taking online courses and engaging in an online program, there tends to be a bit of an onboarding process that can be pretty confusing or frustrating to students. And even after they've been around for a while, different professors design their course different ways, and students might get confused about any number of things. So providing them with just, links to IT support, the library here in the technical assistance section, just helps them think about where to go with this. So we share this org page right when students join us in the program, and we also refer them to it later in the semester. So one other angle that I wanted to focus on that I think is, to me, one of the more exciting parts of this is the virtual lounge that we built. So the virtual lounge, and I'm not going to click in here because there's student conversations in here that are private. Well, not exactly private, but I just don't want to share them here. The virtual lounge is a place where students can meet with peers and talk about things that they don't talk about on the discussion board. Career conversations might come up in a course, but this is a nice dedicated space for them to have career conversations, casual conversations, share resources, talk about commencement, have a bulletin board of things that they just want to share. And it's a relatively new org that we put together. And it's really kind of taking off as a place where students can kind of talk to each other in a less formal setting that many of us who did traditional master's programs or in-person programs where we came to school, a lot of those social connections happen organically when you sit next to someone in class, when you go, you're standing next to in line someone getting coffee. We need to make spaces for students to engage with each other in a digital space in an intentional way, and that is the goal of one of the goals of our org page. So I think I can stop it right there and see if anybody has any questions.
Thanks very much, Angela.
Thank you.
So I'm going to switch the sharing. I'm going to try to switch the sharing. And we will see what happens. All right, let's see. No, that's not it. Did it show on that screen? Okay. Oh, okay. So the screen sharing was paused. Okay. All right. So we can see it in the room, right? But I don't think they can see it.
We just see you right now, Erin.
My apologies. All right.
Erin, the next presenter said that she can share her screen as well.
Yep, we're going to do that in just a minute. So we're pausing in the middle of, well, there's a couple more presentations, but it's because we have a special award this year. So we're going to review the ones that were just shared with all of us. These were the ones that were presented to the community for voting. And I want to share the results of that part with you first. And then we have a new award that Alex and I are going to talk about briefly. So we had 138 votes that were cast, and these are 5-point ratings. There were 690 total points issued across the 7 presentations. And so I want to congratulate our 3rd place, which was Brandy So, who you heard talk about their embedded RSS newsfeed and course discussion boards. So Brandy, we have a lovely plaque here that we'll get over to Farmingdale for you. So congratulations to Brandy.
Thank you so much. That's amazing. I appreciate it.
Great. And 2nd place was, you heard Jay and the Brockport team share about AI-powered study tutoring application. that they are implementing over at Brockport. So that was 175 of those 690 points. So that's awesome. Congratulations to Jay.
Thank you so much, Erin. Thank you, everyone.
And first place with 38% of the votes actually was the Brightspace orientation page that you just heard Angela share from her team at Buff State. So congratulations to Angela.
Thank you so much. How exciting.
All right. We have all of the other honorable mentions, and we have a lovely certificate for those folks. So these will be coming to a campus near you. We'll get those out to you. And Donna, I have one for you. I want to make sure we take your picture. Now that you're in person, you have to get your photo taken. All right. So at this point, I'm just going to invite Alex up here to share a little bit about our new awards program. We are launching this year the Oscar Awards, and we have a couple different categories for this. And we want to be able to highlight a couple people that are on the Zoom for this. No idea. One slide. Last time. Yeah, we'll just share this instead. Doesn't like presentation mode.
All right, is the moderator online? Jen? Jen, can you see the Oscar Award slide?
Yes, I can.
Oh, yay. Hi, everybody. We are so happy to be adding a new award series to our Effective Practices Awards. This will represent part of the Oscar activities and programs that we've been rolling out over the last year. So we are very, very happy to introduce the Oscar Awards program. It is a little different than our Effective Practice Awards, and we hope and invite you all to help us design how this program is going to work from this point forward. We have, well, the intention of it is to recognize excellence in implementing online course quality, review and refresh with Oscar at the institutional level, at the program level, and at the individual level. And you can learn more about these Oscar Awards by following that link. Okay, how do I go? So I just mentioned the different levels of awards. Next year we'll be including also, this year we're just doing the top 3 that you see there. Next year we'll be including a Research Excellence Award. And so we want to recognize things that are going on at the institutional level with online course quality. Oh, it didn't advance. Why is it doing that? And then share, sorry. What were you seeing?
We were seeing in advance.
All right, I don't know.
So they were online and on.
So can you see this? Can you see this, Jen?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't understand how this works.
That's correct, but it's not displaying the right thing.
All right, hang on. Let me just see if I can get it. So if we go here and share this. No. No. Huh. Share. Hang on, bear with me for a second. What is on the screen right now, Jen?
Just you two.
Nothing. Oh, just us. Okay, so should I try this? Right. All right, now what do you see?
Now we see just, excuse me, the Oscar Awards program slide.
That's so strange. All right, well, I'm just going to talk and you know, the four awards are institutional excellence, program innovation, individual achievement. And as I said, next year, we're going to add a research excellence award. One of the things that I would love your help with, and like I said, the link to the awards, if you go to the Oscar page, and you'll see a drop down for awards, and the more information about the Oscar Award program is there. If you're interested in assisting us to implement this program for next year, so be part of that process for next year, please join the new Oscar user group, which is in Facebook. And the link to that is on those pages that are on the Oscar website. And I hope you'll join to help us figure out, you know, how we're going to run this program next year, contribute to that process. So the criteria you'll see on that page involves innovation and creativity, impact on quality, sustainability and scalability, collaboration and community building, commitment to continuous improvement, and research excellence. And as I said, we'll be defining that and figuring out the process for nominations and application and recognition over the course of the next year. But this year, rolling it out, we wanted to recognize a number of folks within the community that we have observed over the last year or been aware of over the last year, taking advantage of some of the programmatic aspects of the new Oscar programming that we have been rolling out. And do I announce this now? So the Institutional Excellence Award is going this year to Doris Ostander, the coordinator of the Teaching and Learning Collaborative at SUNY Adirondack, for their TLC Oscar Faculty Fellowship Program. And I think Doris is going to speak, right? Shall I have her speak now, or go to the next?
Go ahead and announce
Do you want me to go ahead and present, or do you want to keep going?
So let me just announce the other two award winners. And I think Dr. Karen Caldwell from the School of Education and Professional Studies at SUNY Potsdam is here to accept the Program Innovation Award for her Oscar-winning learning, real-life tools, and career connections. And then in addition, the Individual Achievement Award will go to April Higgins, an instructional designer from Delaware Technical Community College, for her Oscar Reviewer certification. And it's actually Oscar trainer certification that she earned. And is April here also? Yeah. All right, great. Congratulations, Doris, Karen, and April. We are thrilled to present these inaugural Oscar awards to you. And looking forward to hearing Doris and Karen speak a little bit about their projects.